Hello YouTube! So I've had an idea for a little product I can make, another ASL turn face marker. So at the moment I've been using these little just cardboard things, put together split pins, took some out of Basel just so I can show what current turn I'm playing. So it's handy to just leave that there. If I step away from a game for whatever reason, I know when I come back it's the Allied defensive phase or it's the German prep fire phase. Really handy little things to have. But I've seen some alternatives to these online, and I thought, you know what, I've got a 3D printer, I've got a bit of spare time, let's come up with an idea for my own. The general idea here is I'm going to make something which has got a disc, much like this, with some magnets dotted around, 8 magnets dotted around it, and it will sit in a unit, like here, so with a arrow pointing there showing what the phase is. You can spin the disc, and on one side it will have the German or the Axis logos, and on the other side it will have the Allied logo, so you can turn it around for one turn, flip it over for another. And down here there'll be a couple of just holes so I can put in some dice. So I have ELR dice here for player 1 and player 2. So if you've got 3 ELR, drop in a dice that's got 3. If you've got 4 ELR, drop in a dice that's got the 4 showing. And down here for the sniper activation number. So although I'm an SK player at the moment, and I won't use that myself, it will still be useful if or when I jump onto full ASL, or if a full ASL player wants one of these. Because as with most of my 3D designs, I'm probably going to put it on 3D on Thingiverse for free, or I'll even offer to make them for people. So that's the basic idea. I mean, these numbers might actually be pips. I was thinking I would write Axis and Allies on there, but that would get a bit confusing, and well, not confusing, it'll be very clear, but I don't think my printer will be up to making it clear enough in the unit size I want. So hopefully the dial disc will be about the same size as these are now, and the whole unit will be, well, smaller than a remote control and just sit next to the game board. A couple of my spare 12mm MMP dice in here, and help me know where I am in play. So, with the basic idea set, I'm going to move over to FreeCAD and see what I can put together. So this is the design process, sped up for obvious reasons. It took me about an hour and a half while I was watching TV in the evening. So not too long. I mean, I'm not a professional CAD modeler by any stretch of the imagination, but it went quite smoothly for me. I use FreeCAD in Linux for most of my work, and this was great because it's parametric. So you might see the occasional moment there where a spreadsheet pops up, and that will store the size of the dial and the size of the dice that are going to be used with it. And if I decide to change what dice are used with it, or if I want a bigger dial or a smaller dial, I change the value in that spreadsheet and the whole model should reconfigure itself automatically. So with this design done, it's time to take it over to the Slicer software. So this Slicer software is what takes a 3D model and prepares it into what's known as G-code for a 3D printer to turn into plastic. So now that process has been done, it's time to send it to the printer and get this thing made. So it's fresh off the printer, and here's how it came out. So the magnets actually fit almost perfectly. There was 1 or 2 of them I had to do a little dab of super glue to stay in, but the others are just press fitting really well. And it just locks in place perfectly. And then just a little turn, little turn, little turn. It will always flick to the next turn, just great. And the magnets are there, so it holds just where it should be throughout the game. I mean, if it can go upside down, you're not going to knock it. It's not going to be halfway around like my paper one can be sometimes. So yeah, the dial's got this lovely little edging to it, so you've got a good grip when spinning it. So you've got the ELR and the sniper activation number for players 1 and 2. And just to show you how well they fit with these MMP dice, if I can get them straight, they just drop straight in. There's a bit of a rattle, they don't really hold, but when it's on the side of the table, it's just going to be great. So stay there, you'll always have your numbers in front of you. Of course, they won't survive. If I was going to make this for standard 12mm dice, these more commonplace rounded ones, I'd have to make it a bit bigger because these are ever so slightly larger. I mean, this white one, you've really got to almost push in, and these ones do actually stay where they are in this, but trying to get them back out again can be a bit of a challenge. So I'm glad with how well the MMP ones work. And where I've got starter kits 1, 2, 3 and 4, I've got 4 sets of these dice. Even if I'm playing another human, I can spare 2 sets for this. But being SK, I'd only actually need to spare 2 dice. So, next step is going to be giving this a bit of a spray paint, getting some paints to fill in the arrow pointer, the lettering, the pips here. And I've got to make the dial graphic and print that off and stick it on. So, yeah, next step, a little bit of painting. And so here is the practically finished product. As you can see, you've got the dial on the front, showing of the allied side here. You've got the ELR numbers for player 1 and player 2, sniper numbers matching, and when you want to change turn phase, it just locks in with the magnets to the next phase. And when it's time to change turn, flip over, now you're on the Axis side. Overall, I think this was quite successful. I thought I was going to do it about 24 hours ago, and in that time I've managed to design it on CAD, print it out, paint it, assemble it, and it works. The only thing left to do is spray a bit of clear coat on it, seal everything up, because at the moment this is just raw paper on here and this paint is just free, so it'll probably rub off if I don't give it a bit of sealant. But the way everything fits, the way it goes together, couldn't be happier. So this was all inspired by a short I saw on Wardrobe's channel. Shout out Wardrobe. If you like hex and counter games or war games, board war games, he's a great person to watch. So yeah, I saw he'd got something similar to this, and it got my old brain ticking over, and thought, need one for myself. And when you've got a 3D printer, you can just make these things. There will be a link in the description for the STL files on Thingiverse, and if you want me to make one for you, drop me a shout in the comments, send me a message or something, and I'm sure I can make one for you if you want one. And as always, if you've got any suggestions, anything you think I could improve on this in version 2, then just give me a shout in the comments. Always like to have a chat with you guys. So until then, happy gaming!